Over the next couple of sessions, I'm going to be developing a GPS application for cyclists using JavaScript and Jasmine. As usual, on the left-hand side, I've got my specification code. On the right-hand side, I've got production code and Jasmine results at the bottom. It's a client-server application, and I'm going to start on the server side. In this session, I'm going to be exploring the design with test-driven development at a high level and resist the temptation of diving into too much detail. Typically when I do this, I would never do it for more than about 30 minutes before getting down to writing some real functionality. So let's start. Of course, I've always start with a little echo function just to make sure Jasmine is working, and we're going to be testing a GPS server class, and I'll just get rid of all of this. And whenever I think server, the first thing that I want to do is just test a ping. So I'm going to need a instantiation of a GPS server object. And immediately Jasmine fails, so let's create that server object. I'm back on green, and the ping will return some message, and we'll be on red, so I'll just add the ping function. And we're back on green, and for now I'll just expect the message to equal OK. I'm not going to worry about the detailed protocol now. I'm just exploring high level. So if I return OK, we're back on green. The next thing of the application, the idea is that the cyclists will know where they are relative to the group that they are in. So let's call it group status for now. So I'm going to need the server, and just get rid of this. And we're on red, so add the group status function. And we're on green, and I'm going to expect the message that I get back to equal to some data. Now again, I'm not worried about the detailed protocol for now. I just want to see how everything fits together. Now, asking the group status is fine, but I obviously need to tell the group where I am. So I need to update my status so that anybody else in the group will know where I am. So I'm gonna update my position. Just gonna get rid of that for now, and I'm gonna expect message to equal OK. Now, often teams will do this, or developers will do this as a team in front of a whiteboard. So there are many ways to design a system. This is a way where you can do it still as a team, but in code itself. So we should be back on green. At this point, there are a couple of things that bother me. The first is that I'm expecting too much of the GPS server class. I'm expecting it to have a concept of group and have a concept of position. Now, obviously, I only want my GPS server class to have one reason to change. The second thing that bothers me is I have to refresh Jasmine regularly, and I would much rather have Jasmine run automatically and just go from red to green and back to red as I work on my specification file and my GPS file. So let's start by addressing that first. So I'm going to open the specification file, and all I'm going to do is allow my Jasmine page to refresh every 5 seconds. So now when I run Jasmine, you'll see it updates itself, and if I break some code, within 5 seconds it'll go to red, and if I fix it, it will go back to green. So that's the first of my concerns addressed. Let's start by extracting the concept of a group from the server object, and this is going to be a group, and we're going to test status first, and group, and a new group object. Now that we're on red, I'm going to add the group object, and we should get back to green quite quickly. And exactly what we did up here, I'm gonna copy down here. All I need to do is change that and add the method. And that should bring us back to green, and it does. Now that we've got a group object, we can extract the functionality of the group from the server object. So I'm going to start with a local variable in the called group in the server, and I'm going to return group status in that method. Now please note that the tests, I'm still on green, so I was able to refactor the code with the safety of tests and successfully extract that functionality. Now I'm going to follow the same process to extract the concept of position update from the server object, and I'm going to continue doing that for about another 20 minutes. There is a 15-minute video limit, so I'll be editing that out, and when I return you will see what it looks like when I reach the 30-minute limit, and then in the next session I'll go into writing some functionality. It's 20 minutes later, and though the design is far from done, it is enough for now, and we can move on to writing some functionality. But let's first take a look at where the design is and maybe clean it up a bit. So I'm going to start at the bottom. We now have an enemy A parser. Enemy A is one of the types of GPS sentences you can get, and the parser is responsible for turning a position object. So the test for the position is just so that it's defined. It's empty at the moment. Then a cyclist has got a concept of position, and it's got a position property, and a group has got a create. I did get a bit sidetracked here by creating a static method called create and find for either creating a new group or finding an existing group. And of course the group has got a concept of status, which it returns as before. And then of course right at the top there's the GPS server object, and it now knows nothing of how a group works or how cyclists work and update their position. It merely calls their methods. So the GPS server object is isolated from changes in either the group or the cyclist object. The last thing that I'd like to do in this session is clean up the code a bit. I can refactor this unit by extracting all these groups to their own files so that it's cleaner and easier to maintain later on. And of course I've got specifications or tests running, so I can do it safely. So I'm just going to change the screen layout. First I'm going to rename this file to GPS server because that's the only class that I intend to keep in it. Immediately the tests fail, so if I open the spec file, all I need to do is include the correct, the new name, and immediately everything passes again. I will continue doing this until the production code and the specification code is cleaned up and all the objects are in their own files.